Hello everybody, good evening. Welcome back to the stream. It's me, DIGI Driver, and we are back in Microsoft Flight Simulator for an actual flying stream. I know, it's crazy, right? DIGI Driver actually flying a plane on stream. I know, it's nuts. So, you guys have seen me stream in and out during the week, trying to, try some new things and experimenting with some new tech. I have to say I've had limited success with that, and I'm happy. And I think probably gonna keep going on the Amiga August train. Not tonight though, maybe not this weekend. I will probably continue that off and on during next week. And for now, I am grateful to Yahweh Elohim that another work week is in the books, and we're going to be hitting the virtual skies. So, let me get out of the screen set up to go, and we're going to be taking not a tour of Italy, but a tour of Canada. Well, what do we have here? Nathan's Plains, my very good friend. I am very pleased to have you aboard. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the show. We are going to be doing some Canadian flights tonight. I'm going to be going up to the, I don't know. I'm debating going to the Maritimes today. So I still haven't exactly picked my flights per se, but I am going to be picking my flights very shortly. But give me just a moment. Let me just take care of something. Checking which destination has the worst weather. Oh, dude, you are nuts. Speaking of which, you might want to check your status just now. I appreciate that, friend. Thank you. You have been a trusted source of friendship and a good meme thrown in here and there, which means you have earned a spot in the club. Welcome. I do not give the green sword to many people. In fact, I give it to very few. You are a part of a small but very appreciated band of friends that I have come to turn to and be grateful for. So I am definitely glad to have you in the virtual employ, so to speak. You get paid in dad jokes. You get paid in dad jokes. So, let's get started. I am signed into SimBrief, but I have to figure out which airport I'm going to take off from first. And since I think we're going to be doing a maritime tour, we're going to start in Montreal. Or, you know what? I think we're going to do this a little differently. I think we're going to fly out of Ottawa to Quebec, and then Quebec to Halifax. Where's my unit? Oh, I guess I am not off to an auspicious start as a mod manager. But then again, I've been managing mods for a while, so, you know. Okay, now, which plane are we going to take? Should we overcook this and take the Kuro Mod 787-800? Or should we do this with a bit more period respect? I want to see if I have an Air Canada delivery. Of course I do. You want to know what? I definitely think we're taking the Canadian livery. The 737 in the Canadian livery. So I think the way it works is if I do not put in a tail number, it's going to automatically paint one on the plane. That's what I'm hoping for. And we're going to call this sucker Air Canada 197. Not Air Canada. My word. My spelling is off. And we're going to take off from Ottawa. And we're going to fly to, not Montreal, we're going to fly to Quebec. And then from Quebec, we're going to go to Halifax tonight. So, I think we're going to do this with multiplayer tonight. Got some catching up to do with you guys, and I've got an assignment or two that I want to take care of. So we'll depart from gate 75, and we'll get started planning our flight out there. I'm going to readjust the time for a little bit of late afternoon, early evening flying time, and I'm going to start planning my flight right now. So we're going to take the 737-600 to a couple of destinations this evening, one to Quebec and one to Halifax. Now, fair warning, these are default airports, because money. And I don't know, I might want to build those airports one day. With that said, it is going to take some time for me to get to that point. So let's go ahead and set up the time. I would say if we do two flights tonight, it's probably going to be a good idea to do, I would say, start at like 2:15 and see what happens. I think so. I think we're good. I also think we have live weather. So we'll stick with the live weather for now. And I'm undecided whether or not I'm actually going to keep the lossless scaling frame generation. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and turn it off because I just don't like the way it performs. So we're gonna keep the AMD FSR for display sharpening and whatnot, but I don't think we're gonna do frame gen. I'm running at 1440p today, and I think it's pretty good as is. So let's go ahead and get the plane connected to the gate while we start doing some things. We'll take a jetway, and I don't think we have catering. Catering or luggage service. I guess I already loaded us. Oh, you know what? I just realized something. I don't think I have those services optional in here. So let me go ahead and turn the battery on, arm the emergency lights, and go downstairs and do the PMDG setup. Actually, excuse me, FS actions. Let's go to ground services, request some ground power, and then I should be able to go to ground power almost immediately. Once I see this, you should be able to start up. There we go. So we've got ground power, and I think I can go to standby power for now and do a quick control surface check, and then we will get the aligners underway. Set this to heading mode so I can see when I start aligning. I like doing my little clicky mock airspeed warning stuff. And what am I missing? Get the dome lights on, give me some extra lighting. And while we're doing that, let's get the circuit breaker lighting all the way up, panel lighting all the way up. I like seeing everything. And get the chime. And leave the seatbelt signs to auto. I like to pretend that the flight attendants take care of that for me. And what else am I missing? I am missing my logo light. This is a DIGI driver stream after all. And what else am I missing? Not much at the moment. The position lights should be off. And we'll get the packs on for now. Recirc fans are on auto. And APU bleed will come on, but not just yet. Let's go downstairs and start planning our flight. So we'll set the IRS position to begin, and I think that's in, init ref? Well, before I do that, let me go ahead and at least get the entry set the jetway. Those stairs will go away. And let me go back to fuel and payload. I should have a flight almost ready, but of course I do need to decide what airport I'm flying out of. Now, because I was really eager to get up in the air and I neglected to check the airports, I'm going to go ahead and open up VATSPY, and we're going to find Ottawa, and then we're going to file the ICAO out of Ottawa, go to Quebec, and then we're going to go and do the same thing when we're ready over to Halifax. So it should be Charlie Yankee Oscar Whiskey. And we're going to go to Charlie Yankee Quebec Bravo. That's what it should be. Yep, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and double check our designation. And there we go. See, it painted a registration for me. So it's Charlie Golf Alpha Papa Oscar. Charlie Golf Alpha Papa Oscar. And the VIN number is, I believe, 363. Happy to deal with this. And we are IFR. Ottawa to Quebec is actually an hour and 15-minute flight time. So whatever I do in the galley better be quick. Actually, I'm almost wondering if it's more appropriate to... No, no. You know what? I'm not going to worry about it because if it's a short flight, then the next leg to Halifax will probably be a little bit longer, which is usually the opposite of what a lot of people do. I like the 736 because they got this plane for a very cheap price when it released, or when they released the value version of it, as I like to call it. And there's other planes, and yes, I grew up flying the 737-800 and FSX, but the 736 has that value added cachet to it that just makes me smile because I like a good deal. So let's go ahead and generate the flight. Generating right now. It'll also allow me to open up the Navigraph charts and get that going. All right, payload cargo is limited by, I think, maximum load weight or whatever MLW means. Let's go ahead and crack open a new window, import into charts, and that'll give me some more info about where we're flying. But while that's loading, I'm going to go ahead and open up the briefing preview. And we are going to be taking 149 passengers, or whatever the maximum number of passengers this plane can hold is. $24 for the sale? Oh, that is an insane value. If anybody's watching this and you haven't tried flying the PMDG 737, buy the 737-600 for $24 right now. That's ridiculous. Wow. All right, so payload. Yeah, we're maxed out at 112 passengers, so we're going to compensate with extra cargo, I think. There's 31,400 pounds of payload, but what is the zero fuel weight right now? It's 113.5. Actually, you want to know what? I'll take that. I'm like 1,000 pounds over what the max zero fuel weight is. So I either have to kick more passengers to the curb or take away some cargo. I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to pay an extra close eye to my takeoff speeds and just make sure I have plenty of room. Yeah, like $24 is an utter deal for this. Okay, so I'm reasonably happy with the loadout and the passengers that we have. And since I'm hooked up to the jetway, I'm going to pretend the passengers are loading now because I don't have GSX and I don't care. I might get it at some point, maybe for FS 2024, but I'm not in a hurry to get it now. So the payload is good. What about my fuel? Fuel is going to be 11,400 pounds. I have like 13,000 pounds over that. Let's take 14,000 just because I'm a bit of a doofus and I like having a little extra shoulder in terms of required fuel. And that 30.4%, I never like being below 30% fuel in aircraft anyway. And what does that mean? That means I'm going to have an extra 2,600 pounds for contingency. So let's go ahead and set the FMC and get going. Nav data is out of date? No, it shouldn't be, but I'm not on VATSIM, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'll double check that once I get off the stream, but honestly, I did update the aircraft. You know what I might have missed? I might have missed updating the nav data for the 737, but I honestly thought I updated this bird. Whatever. Again, offline, not worrying about it. Posit it, we're going to take the position that we're currently at right now, set it, and it's going to be Charlie, Yankee, Oscar, Whiskey, and gate 75, but I can't put in a gate here because it never accepts it. Watch. 75, not in database. See? So, not worried about it. Route, we're going to take Charlie, Yankee, Oscar, Whiskey. Thank you for remembering. We're going to fly to Charlie Yankee Quebec Bravo. Trivia, I haven't actually flown into Quebec in the sim since my X-Plane 11 days. Wow. It's been a while. Good enough for government work. All right. All right. So there we go. It happened today. It happened today. It's happening today. Okay. Now we've got the flight plan set. I just need to set my departure. There's only one departure out of Ottawa. Fine. This is good. And I'm flying out of runway 25. 25. So we're taking off to the southwest. And this is Air Canada 197. All right. Tonight, I'm with the Poutine Dream Team. Let's go. And what are we going to do? We're going to fly out of Ottawa. We're going to take the Ottawa 4, and we're going to select runway 25. We have it selected, activate it, execute it. Now we're going to go to performance in it. It's happening today. You know, you know, you know. I didn't even have to say another word. You know. All right, so with the numbers the way they were before, I think, do we set takeoff weight here? I think we do, but hold on. Zero fuel weight is going to be 114.5, because that's what I saw before. Reserves, 2,600 pounds. And the cost index for today, we're going to sip fuel. It's going to be a cost index of 9er. Well, I am going to do a very, very brief kitchenette stream. Obviously, you're not going to see my face because you're going to have to wait till Expo for that if you go. But I am going to whip up a snack while we're actually on the way to Quebec. So we will see. I'll see whether or not I can actually do a cam stream while streaming. I don't expect to be able to, and it's probably not going to happen, to be honest. Oh man, refund. It's hard to get a refund for something free, Nathan. Ha! But let me go ahead and figure out what the cruise wins are going to be. Hold on, where's my paperwork? Paperwork. Top of climb, cruise wins 229 at 57. 229er at 057. And outside air temperature? Hello? Hello? Cruise winds. Yeah, 57. Why are you not working? I mean, I know I haven't flown this plane for a while, but I didn't feel like I was going to have to knock off rust. Maybe this comes up later. I'm not going to worry about it. Let's see. -22 at cruise. -22 Celsius. Okay, maybe... Oh, put in cruise altitude. Thank you. DIGI's a noob. Okay, so guess what? Max cruise for this leg is going to be 250. This is going to feel so weird. 229er at 57. At 57. And execute that. And 1 limits. What do we want to do? We want to do a D-rated takeoff, or we're just going to gun it? I feel like we're going to gun it. It's just full on firewall takeoff. We're doing this. I think we can do flaps 5 if we're going to firewall the sucker. And look at that. 122, 123, and 132 for V2. So there we go. What about CG? CG is going to be 5. So if we take 5, then we're going to wind this down. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. And there we go. The conga line is done, and now we have the trim set. So next page of takeoff ref. Runway 25. Runway wins? Runway wins. All right, let's go to airports. Give me the weather at Ottawa, please. Weather is winds 250 at 6. 250 at 6, so right down the nose. Runway slope, takeoff speed deleted. That's fine, I'll double check. Runway slope. Do I know what runway slope is? Um, Conditions are dry, and temperature is 19. Yeah, so we have it. We're not going to set, we're going to go full takeoff. Cha, cha, cha. All right, so we have 1500 AGL, climb, positive. This is good enough for me right now, and now I think I just need to double check my speeds. Route, takeoff, yep, same speeds. That didn't change. And now we're going to go to the arrival. Do we have an arrival for Quebec? Yes, we do. It's called the PASEC 4, and we transition into it through Agluk. PASEC 4 into what runway? Runway 11. 11. RNAV 11. RNAV Zulu. I always go Zulu, just if we're going to take it anything, whether it's ILS or RNAV, because I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's be honest. But let's see. Transition. Oh, transition into the approach. Excuse me. We're going to be serious about that at least. So, where am I going to come from? Probably going to come from Pibney. Yeah. Or I could go straight to final, but I'm going to go Pibney. And that's going to connect to the route. That should do it. And now we have the route set up. The only thing that I'm missing is probably the waypoints for the trip, because there are quite a few. Are we taking an airway? Yes, we are. We're going to go from Takeall to Agluk for the arrival, so I could probably enter an airway immediately. So where are we going first? Let's find out. Vectors, PASAC, Gonum, and Pibney. Is that the same airway? No, it isn't. So we need to hook up a couple of airways before we get done. We can go ahead and go direct to Takeall, but we're going to go ahead and Takeall first. Tango Alpha Kilo Oscar Lima. Straight from vectors. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the route menu and see if we can actually input the airways here. Direct Takeall and then Quebec 9041 airway. Look at me talking like I actually know what I'm doing. And then we pretty much go straight to Agluk. Because PASAC comes after Agluk. Okay. And then that's it. And then we can theoretically go direct PASAC, but I'm going to actually put in the airway. So wait a minute. PASAC, and then what happens after that? Yeah, this literally skips over so many waypoints on the arrival. That's kind of weird. Whatever. Let's see, Quebec 9005, and then we're going to go direct to, I think, PASAC for the arrival. Quebec 9005, and then we're going to go direct PASAC. Yeah, that's it. So that should do it. Let's see. Vectors to Takeall. You know what? We'll do this by the books. Or try to. We'll look like we're doing something useful. PASAC, and then Gonum Pidney, or Madnu, Pibney, Imova. Let's double check the approach. Arnav Zulu is going to give me Imova, KSOT, IPFAR, and then if we go miss, we go to 3000 and go direct to Aviso. Is that what we have? 3000 to Aviso. There we go. All right, so we got the performance numbers in. We've got the flight. Remember, Digi, you're going to be vectoring. Don't forget that. Why am I going this way? Check your flight plan. It's all right. You're gonna be okay. All right, so we got the numbers in. I'm going to put 132 for V2. And then we're going to go ahead and prep for departure. So Master caution, disregard, we're okay. But if you don't get assigned one, you would go to PaySec then, as the cool kids say, send it. This is why I'm happy to have you aboard the stream. Nathan, believe me when I say this, feel free to put me to task on this plane or any flight that I'm doing when you feel I can benefit from having the serious approach given to me. Like, if you feel there's benefit to the stream to learn about the benefits of, following a specific flight plan, being prepared in advance for an arrival, being able to handle changing an arrival mid-flight when we're not on VATSIM, feel free to do that. You can be one of the go-to guys that I listen to for IRL advice. So we've been here for a while. We've got the plane hooked up. We don't have any IRL traffic. Oh no, I'm sorry, we do. We do. We have some, uh, you know, pending deliveries being slightly different, but that's okay. We'll do what we can. And now we're going to go ahead and transition to start getting the APU started up. So I like to do my, this might make you cringe a bit, but I do say the word flows. I like doing my processes a certain way, top to bottom, left to right. It's free entertainment. Well, thank you. Thank you. Maybe one of these days I'll actually get serious again. But like I say, I am, I am going to be, doing the deal. I, I think there's no benefit to turning the yaw damper on before actually getting to a certain point. But I always like turning the yaw damper on, which kind of gives me the mental faculty of saying, hey, we're about to get started. And for the departure out of Ottawa, let me at least take a look at the overlay. Transition altitude, initial climb. If I'm flying out of 2525, climb heading 251, maintain 5,000. So let's go ahead and look at the MCP. And we'll set 5,000 for the initial climb. And then we'll wind up going into 250, which makes me happy that I'm actually doing a vector departure because I'm going to have to pay attention. Magnetic deviation for runway 25 is most likely 251. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that. 251. And we've got that set. I'm going to arm my auto throttle. Probably get my flight directors on at this point so I don't forget them. And we've got the initial climb set. Now, as long as I actually get my IRSs aligned, which I should do now, am I doing real-time alignment or is that like, let's see, does it show me how long it takes? I don't think it's going to take 37 minutes unless I allow this thing to be instantly aligned. I'm going to double check because I like having a little bit of time to align and to get myself prepped. I might check that in the future. Now, what is the current altimeter at Ottawa? Current altimeter is, let's see, 29071. Let's go ahead and adjust that. Where's it? There we go. 29071. I could just hit the B button, but I feel like doing it manual today. Make it fun. Why not? Decision height at Quebec is going to be 600 feet. So I'm going to set that up for the Barrow. Exactly. I forgot when I set the alignment to instantaneous or if it reset itself on a recent update, but I like taking a little bit of time to get ready. I'm okay with a real-time alignment if I start doing it immediately after I turn the plane on, because it usually takes me about 15 to 30 minutes to get the plane started up anyway. 600 feet in the Barrow scene, and we've got 271 set. Let's go ahead and pop open traffic and set my favorite squawk code 2257 on the bottom. And then we're going to go ahead. We're currently squawking mode Charlie per VATSIM standards. We're transponder right now. And do I need to put it in ILS frequency? No, because we're going RNAV Zulu. So I don't need to worry about nav aids. And I don't need to worry about comms. So let's see, what have I forgotten? Have I forgotten anything? I don't think so, but I can set my flight number up here just for fun kicks. And I've got my registration right here. And let's get the main panel brightness up. And we'll get the other panel set up as well. Ooh, looks like we actually got some weather rolling in. We've got some rain. Superb. So that does mean that I'm going to adjust my numbers because we're no longer taking off in the dry, we're taking off in the wet. What does that do for me? Takeoff. V1's actually less, but V rotate and V2 speeds are different. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm also not that worried about it. If it becomes an issue, though, I might lean on you for some wisdom. Ooh, man, well, hopefully you're doing fine. I also have a, battery backup system on my computer. So if for some reason I do lose power, I can at least say goodbye to you guys and take a minute or two to make sure I'm shut off properly. But that's a thing. All right, so we got the takeoff speeds. We've got the initial MCP setting done. I'm not going to set my RTO until I've pushed back from the gate. And now I can actually set up my APU. So let's go ahead and put the anti-collision lights to on, and flight attendants, doors to auto cross-check, standby for all call. Let's go ahead and dismiss the door unofficially because I didn't actually use the PMDG FMC for that. It should be going away anytime soon. It is, and now because we've got the anti-collision light on, I should be able to get the hydraulics set up. And again, double check, yaw damper, get my fuel all the way on. Do we have any fuel in the center tanks? I believe the answer should be no, none. So center tanks can stay off. Outward tanks are on. Let's go ahead and hit up the APU. APU start. APU bleed on. And APU gen should come on momentarily. While we're doing that, let's go ahead and set our cruise altitude up here as 25,000 feet and get the landing altitude for Quebec. It's going to be 244 feet, so 250 should do. There we go. Enough to write yaw dampers, fuel is coming up, and we've got the APU building. We've got the cabin crew notified, window heats. We'll go ahead and trip these. Probe heats not yet. No anti-ice required at the moment, but we might use it for our departure. And packs are still open, isolation valve is open, APU bleed is on. We should be able to get the APU to come on shortly. Oh, right. Well, I'm happy that you don't have that problem. I discovered actually earlier that we were under a tornado watch, but fortunately that expired earlier today. And now we've got the APU running, which means I can switch over to the gens. Excuse me, APU gens. And I can dismiss the ground power. So, FS actions, ground services, ground power release. Chocks are set. We'll remove them before we get out of here. And let's go back to init ref and leave that there. And we should be good. So now I can put powered APU gen, get the battery on the bus, and let's see, hydraulics, and we should be good. Let's go ahead and get prepped for our pushback. I'm going to use the PMDG pushback because this will absolutely get us nowhere if I actually try to use the, what is this, toolbar pushback. So I'm going to give it some pressure to prime the brakes before I get the parking brake set. V1 is the highest speed you can attain before ejecting takeoff. On a dry runway, you can get stopped pretty quick. On a wet runway, we need more distance to stop. That lowers V1 because you can't go quite as fast before the plane can't stop on the runway. Nathan explains. I'm going to have to make that a command. We do have the parking brake set, so now we can actually get this thing ready for a pushback. Thanks for the explanation. Now, let's go ahead and double check our circumstances. No problem with a straight pushback, which is exactly what we'll do. We will request it now. Go to the menu, FS Actions, Pushback. Pushback straight out, distance to taxi line, probably 300. Push style straight out. And since we have the parking brakes set, we can remove the chocks, and we can select the tug, and we can start.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start, tail straight out. Roger that. Ready for push straight back. Brakes off. Brakes released. Brakes released. Here we go.
All right, the clock is on. Let's go ahead and start the push, and now start the ground powers. Starter valve open on the right, engine 2. Oh, well, you want to know what? Always a good idea when the packs are off so we can actually get the engine powered up. How's that? There we go. G-Cook Scotland, hello my friend, welcome aboard. Happy to have you with us as we fly some Canadian legs today. I'm flying from Ottawa to Quebec and Quebec to Halifax, visiting some default scenery, but nonetheless we are flying in Canada tonight. 25% N2, and we'll give it some go juice. Ooh. Even the most basic of headphones and you just feel the bass come on when the engines power up. I'm happy I'm wearing them.
Pushback complete. Parking brake, please. Brake set.
Wow, that forklift was booking.
Steering pin is pulled. Watch for the salute and release from guidance on your right. Have a good flight.
All right. We are getting out of here. 20% N2 should probably be enough to get us started. And now we're 25, we can definitely do it. So both engines are coming up. And while we're doing that, let's go ahead and double check our taxi profile for getting out of here. We just pushed back from gate 75. We're going to be taking off on 25. So we can turn right around and go down Alpha to Bravo to 25. And that's the taxi. And let's see, how are we on volume? Hopefully the volume is good for you guys. Let me know if it's too quiet or too loud. I'll try to adjust the volume so that you guys are very comfortable. Welcome aboard. Okay, both engines are running. Let's go ahead and check upstairs. Probe heat's on. Gen's on. Gen 1. TR1. Yaw damper, fuel pumps are going. We've got Gen's running the plane. And let's see, supply exhaust, our Norm galley is on. And we've got window heats, probe heats on. I'm probably going to turn any ice on once we actually get to the runway, unless there's no real need for it. And now we can turn the packs back on. Now I can also turn the APU off, and we can set the isolation valve to auto. And with the wing lights on for safety, and that should do it. Taxi lights on, we'll do a flight controls check, and that should be everything for us to get ready for our taxi roll. All right, we will reset fuel flow and check systems to get our flight controls checked. Full left, release, full right, also release, full forward, and full back, full left rudder deflection, full right rudder deflection. We are good, or at least I like making those things look like they're actually doing something. Back to engine display, and that's the game. All right. Upstairs again. Did I miss anything? Not really. But now I can do this. I don't know why number 2 doesn't work. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe that's just the way this particular livery is designed. But we are getting stick shaker movement, so we are good. All right, we are in line. We're ready to go. I need to set my TCAS to TARA. And there we go. We are. And now we're going to get traffic. I'm going to also set my radar to 10 nautical miles for departure. And we can turn around and go down Alpha to Bravo. So, one quick tap. And there we go. We now have parking brakes released. Welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard Air Canada Flight 197 with service to Quebec today. It's probably going to be about a 30-ish minute flight, 35, maybe 40-minute flight. It's not going to be much, I can tell you that right now, but it should probably give me just enough time to get up in the air, make a quick snack, and then come back. And then maybe we'll be able to do a little bit more on the Quebec to Halifax leg. Okay, now is there anything that I'm missing? I set the trim, so trim is set. I set the, did I set the flaps? I did not set the flaps. Let's go ahead and set the flaps to 5. And on the runway, I think is a AI aircraft that just landed. It looks like either a 767 or a triple, probably a 76. Looks pretty cool. So everybody's having a very good night tonight. I'm happy to be at the end of another work week, and we are in the process of getting ourselves ready to get out of Ottawa for hopefully a slightly sunnier Quebec. If any of you have been following me this week, I've been experimenting with some different streams as well. I tried a bit of a quickie cooking stream. I think it was on Sunday or Monday night, and it wasn't a real cooking stream. It was just like a 10-minute blob, just to see if I could actually do it, and I did. And I've been playing with some basically console games and the virtual Amiga that I have. Sky Command, welcome aboard. Hello Raiders, welcome to the stream. I am flying a Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we're doing some Canadian ops tonight. Just maybe doing a prepping for a future poutine tour. I don't know. But Sky Command, thank you so much for the raid. Definitely appreciate you stopping by. We are on our way out of Ottawa, and we are going to Quebec tonight for the first leg. Tonight, Mrs. DIGI actually made mushroom soup, and it tasted superb. Let's see, we're 14 knots. It seems like we're going slower, but that's okay. Poutine tour, I'm invested. Yes, yes. And thanks to the prodigious encouraging skills of Nathan's Plains, I am thinking more and more about doing things on stream like cooking. I don't know how this is going to work, so it's entirely possible it might not work today, but hopefully I'll learn how to do a kind of like, in-flight deal. Just FYI. Well, I'll take that as a compliment, so thank you. Hopefully you and family are doing very well. Have a great night, Sky Command. Take care, my friend. So initial climb out of 25 is going to be 5,000. We're going to keep the runway heading, which means I'm going to keep my course set to 251 on the pilot and first officer side. And then once we get up to cruise, we'll probably get this set to the course heading for the RNAV. Since we're not doing an ILS approach, I don't necessarily have to set the course heading there, but it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to keep it there anyway. To the folks that are just joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. If you're brand new, I am DigiDriver, a flight sim streamer that likes to play other games as well, and I also create scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm trying to get more in the groove to make more airports. Just, splitting my time between some IRL priorities, including work, of course, and trying to figure out what I want to do with my time as a IRL software developer. Oh, what's that? Oh, my word. That's weird. Well, not that weird. Well played, Internet. Well played. So we are going to 2.5. Let's go ahead and set ourselves up. And we'll do auto brake RTO. And we will go ahead and get this thing set to go now that we are pretty close to taking off. A little departure probably from realism, but I'm going to set my lights off, set my lights up for departure before we even get there. And because I'm a bit of a noob, I'll set my flight engine switches to continuous. And I think at this point, I am going to set my wing anti-ice up for the climb, just so I'm ready to go. Nobody's coming into 2.5, so we should be able to get out of here, and I'm not going to waste much time. We're not going to do a very complicated warm-up. I am double checking, but both N1 readouts on engines 1 and 2 are symmetrical. I would say the difference in EGT between left and right engines is acceptable. And again, no clue what I know, but I also don't have my auto throttle on. So fix that. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Arm VNav and LNav. There we go. Armed. Interesting. This plane feels heavy today, probably because it is. So, done deal. Approaching runway 25, let's go ahead and get the chrono running. Flight attendant seat for departure. We are entering runway 25. We have our lights ready to go. And I have my VNav and LNav ready. In theory, if not in execution. Okay, unlike the 787, this does not have a heads-up display, at least not this model. And yeah, we should have hydraulics. Yeah, I mean, the flight controls check worked out, so we should be good. All right, about a minute in, and let's go ahead and set ourselves up for 40 nautical miles for departure. All right, no delay. Let's warm up to about 50%. N1. Okay, N1 looks symmetrical. Let's go toga. Airspeed is rolling.
80 knots.
80 knots seen.
V1. Rotate.
Rotating.
Positive rate of climb.
Positive rate of climb. Let's go gear up. Flaps to 2. Flaps to 1. And we are in the soup, friends. Flaps to up. Okay, 1,000, and just like that, we're actually out of the soup. That's amazing. All right. Command A. Let's clean up. Okay, looking good there for now. Let's go to the vectors and let's just double check the flight plan where we're going. We are on our way out. So let's go ahead and get turned around. We'll go direct to take all now and execute. Coming at about 249 knots, roughly 3,000 feet per minute. Okay, auto brake disarmed. Actually, auto brake off. And let's see. Landing lights on through 10,000. Runway turnoffs off. Taxi off. Overhead. Master caution. Recall, nothing. All right, 3 minutes of our flight so far, and we're doing okay. Up to 5,000, no traffic in sight. Let's go ahead and clear ourselves up to 250 and finish our flight. Finish our climb to cruise, rather. But yeah, that's the idea. Eventually finish the flight. Alright, so I think I can hit VNAV now. That call is going to be the first waypoint on the flight, so once we get this plane sorted and stable, we'll go ahead and continue the climb up to cruise, and then I'll probably duck into the kitchen to grab some food. As it stands, we are on our way out of Ottawa. Direct to take all, and then the Quebec 9041 Vector Airway. Montreal's going to be on our right by about maybe 40 to 50 plus nautical miles. Top of climb just after the first waypoint. And man, are we giving it the business right now. Almost 3,900 feet per minute. This plane is showing the air who's boss. That's incredible. So one of my favorite things about the 736 is how the wingspan is actually wider than the plane is long. So you've got really big wings and surprisingly potent engines. So it shouldn't necessarily surprise me that this plane can actually do things really well in terms of climbing. 10,000 feet, landing lights can come off. And we're past that point, so engine start systems can go back to off. And the gear can come to the off position. I think we should be okay. Also, while we're climbing, let's go ahead and clean ourselves up, especially for RNAV approach. Once we get to Quebec. Once we get to Quebec, it's gonna be... What was I looking at this for? Oh, for the approach course. Yeah, so it's gonna be 099er. And... There we go, 099er, and it'll be the same on this side. And now we can set the current heading to 068. And we're off, and we're climbing, and we're going to Quebec today for our first leg. We should be visiting Montreal shortly. While I am doing that, I will go ahead and do one or two things. Give me a moment. Stand by 2 instead of 1. Get it? Ha 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 ha. Dad jokes inbound. But you already knew this. Most of you did anyway. All right, so getting myself signed in. And I'm going to do two things. I'm going to check and just make a general announcement because, as usual, Digi forgot to announce on his own Discord that he's streaming. And for some reason, this thing's actually really slow. It's okay. All right. Everyone, I forgot to mention, I'm streaming. Now. Canadops. All right. So, that is what it is. It's done. We are almost to transition altitude, which is 18,000 feet, after which we go standard pressure. And then it's only like another 7,000 feet up until cruise, which is utterly nuts. But let me zoom out a bit just to see how far we have before we actually start descending. Top of drop is literally in about 80 nautical miles, and we are at standard pressure. So while we're climbing, let's go ahead and set the approach ref speed. We will do flaps 30 and 131 knots. And Quebec is a 5,700 foot long runway. So it's going to be interesting, but we are flying a small jet, so it shouldn't be crazy impossible. Ref plus 5 is probably going to make it 136, and that's it. Now, I'm going to wait until we get to cruise. I'm immediately going to reset my MCP for the final approach fix altitude of 3,500, and then that should put us ready to descend via the VNAV once we get to that point. We are past flight level 200, so we're going to be at the cruise very shortly. Once I do, I'm literally going to have about maybe 5 or 10 minutes to prep the evening dessert selection, which, as you might have inferred from the title of the stream, will be s'mores. So I'm going to dash over to the galley, prep some s'mores real quick, probably wake the cats, and you'll probably hear one or more meows on stream as the cats go, hey, you're having food, let me have some. 80%, yeah, basically, essentially. All right, 2,000 to go, and we're still climbing at about 2,900 feet per minute. This thing's a beast. All right, one till. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We appreciate you flying with Air Canada today. I'm about to take part in a very quick galley run, so you're going to see me run through the cabin. Don't worry, the plane is not on fire. I've been challenged by my crew to whip up some s'mores in the amount of time that we have during cruise. Don't worry, we have a capable crew around us, so no one's going to be away from the controls for too long. And now that we're at cruise, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, chat, BRB, sit tight. I'm going to go ahead and whip up some s'mores and should be back momentarily to catch the arrival into Quebec. Stay tuned.
approach checklist complete.
Okay, folks, I have returned with my evening snack. I was actually able to create s'more bowl for both myself and Mrs. Digi. Um, could have made actual s'mores, but then she reminded me of the old technique that I used to use, which was really cool, which is basically just a deconstructed s'more bowl. So essentially what you do is this. You take all the ingredients for s'mores, the, graham crackers, the chocolate, the marshmallow. Instead of building sandwiches, grab a bowl, break the graham crackers into pieces, break off the individual chunks of chocolate, put some marshmallows in there, stick it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and just keep an eye on it. 25 some odd seconds or less, and you are fine. Now, exactly why I'm slowing down to about Mach 0.49er, I'm not sure. I'm not getting any weird messages, and we've got plenty of fuel. So why are we cruising so slow? I don't know why. We still got at least 40 some odd nautical miles to decel. So I'm going to do a override if I can. I can't do. Oh no, wait, hold on. I can fix this. Reset MCP altitude. Oh, well, good idea. Probably because we should be descending. I think I said 2,500 feet. Yeah. Yeah, because we're basically going to need to get down there. How close am I? Let's see. Da, 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 da. Where are we? Yeah, no, we have it. Oh, I turned VNav off. Yeah, so 40 some odd, 60 some odd nautical miles. We should be on the way down. Now let's see how far off I was from my descent point. We'll take a look at the arrival as this thing gets some serious descent times. So going to need to be at or below 10,000, and that's about yeah, that's a pretty steep descent. let's do this. Let's go ahead and just override, do speed intervene, go vertical speed, and descend at about 3,200 feet per minute at 210 knots with the boards out. That'll give us a little extra time, but at the same time, I'm not going to worry too much. Because we're essentially, what is this? We are about 60 nautical miles from the airport. So yeah, I want to get down to ground level with the quickness. Local pressure in Quebec. Weather is 2948. Let's go ahead and set that up now. Okay, so 2948 is what we're going to transition into very shortly. We're descending at about 3,200 feet per minute, and we are gaining airspeed. So let's add a touch more speed brake. We're almost fully deployed for speed brakes, aren't we? Yeah, we're coming down. Okay, but the green banana says if I continue with this particular approach descent rate, we should be good for the Arnav Zulu approach into Quebec. So we're hoofing it, but I think we're going to be okay. Also coming into some multiplayer traffic, which is kind of neat. All right, stand by one shot. I didn't touch my s'more bowl since we came back, so I just took in a nice bite of deconstructed s'more, and it is delicious. Also got some flat ginger ale soda mixed with some cranberry juice, which is cool. So, not bad for a first leg tonight.
All right.
So we are about to go through 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and reduce the landing rate. I'm sorry, reduce the descent rate, rather. Looks like we've got some rain in Quebec. We don't want to be faster than 210 knots at Bibney. And hopefully we will get that resolved. Yeah, we're basically pretty much virtually fully deployed. Actually, we are fully deployed for speed brake at on our descent rate. Sub 10,000 feet, landing lights come on. Conditions. Yeah, showers. Overcast at 600, so we're going to be coming out pretty much on minimums. Oh boy. If I was actually flying on VATSIM, that would be a problem. But since I'm simulating and I'm not going for utter realism here, it's just going to be incredibly interesting. E0, welcome aboard, friend. Happy to have you aboard. We spoke a little earlier today, and I am flying in MSFS in the 737-600 going from Ottawa to Montreal. We are on the way into Quebec, which is our first destination for the evening. And I should be going slower than I am right now. So guess how I slow down? By deploying the landing gear. Let's also increase the rate of descent, because we need to be set up for the altitude for the RNAV approach. Let me double check my approach altitude. 3,500, but I have 2,500 set. Let's go ahead and set 3,500 up. Okay, that's a good compromise. I missed my MCP descent moment, so we are chasing it back down. Now, I am most likely not going to be a very good source of education, but I will tell you, based on my experience with the RNAV approaches that I've flown, some aircraft do try to approximate a descent path or a glide path for the RNAV. Today's not going to be the best day for me to fly an RNAV into Quebec City, but we're going to try. Because of the weather. We've got showers. Did I ever turn my anti-ice off? I did. Let's turn it back on. Let's see. Am I missing anything? Let's check. Coming up on... Really? Coming up on 3,500 feet? That's fast. Okay. Looks like we made it at least. Let's reset the speed brake. Speed brake is back to being armed. Let's also keep slowing down. Give me 180 and let's do flaps 1. Also, any particular reason why you are not flying to where I want you to go? That's a little weird. Oh, you know why it's weird? Because I didn't pick the waypoint. But that's fine. That is just fine. TAT on above 10 degrees. Guess we don't need wing ice. And let's go ahead and start getting down to, I think, 2,500 feet at 1,000 feet per minute. Let me see, actually. ASOT is 3,150, but 2,500 will allow us to intercept the deal. Oh yeah, folks, we got rain. Give me flaps 2. Let's go for 160 knots. Alright, so let's see. Speed brakes are armed. Let's go auto brake max. Because there's a 5,700 foot long runway. Yes, I am flying offline today. I'm not on VATSIM. Let's go flaps 5. And 150 knots, we'll go flaps 10. And flaps 15. And 140 knots. Flaps 25. And let's see if approach mode actually works.
2500.
Roger. Let's go flaps 30. Oof, I'm really pushing the the tape. Okay, let's get 3,000 set as the go around altitude. Turn off lights on. APU on standby. Engine start switches to continuous. Speed brake arm. Flaps 30. Green light. Landing gear down 3 greens. Okay, question. Am I still flying the approach or am I about to overfly the runway? No, I'm still flying the approach. IPFAR is going to be 1310. And it's 240 something, 244 for the altitude at the airport. Touchdown is going to be at 239 feet. And we are in the soup. Okay, we're literally going to be going hands on the controls, autopilot off at 600 feet, which is our barrow mins. We do have some winds. Winds are coming from the south, roughly at 13 knots. So I'm going to have to get on the rudders pretty quickly. But very fortunate that the RNAV is helping us get down. How we doing? How we doing? Oh, we're coming in, baby. We are coming in. And 1,098, and we're going to make a slight right turn, runway scene. Okay, tell you what, 1,000? My aircraft. Also my throttles. Wow.
500.
Kinda nutty.
Approaching minimums. 400. Minimums.
Continue.
300. Sync rate. 200. 100. Sync rate. 50. 30. 20. 10.
Haha, a 1-point landing. Reverse green, speed brakes up. Reverser's normal. 60 knots. Auto brake off. Welcome down, everybody. That's probably like, what, 350 feet per minute? Maybe more. But it's raining, and we want to break surface tension when we land. We do not want to float this thing. And speed brakes are deployed. And was it right here? Nope, can't go that way. That's fine. What would you say, Nathan? 2-wire, 3-wire? Wow. A little nutty, but welcome down to Montreal. Local time is probably 11:50 p.m. I'll take a short break, and we will turn the landing lights off, taxi lights on, runway turn-offs off, get the engine start switches turned off, and get the APU fired up. Welcome down, everybody. We'll coast for a little bit and get ourselves prepped. We'll go down a little bit. Go this way. And there's usually a little mini game that I like to play called find a spot where the flight sim vehicles are waiting for me. APU gen is on, battery on the bus. Stand by chat, just taking care of something quick. And I think we go that way. I think this is our point. I think. Okay, well, let me think. Is this close enough? What I don't understand is exactly where that person is. But stand by. I think we're going to go here, and they're going to be like, no, 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 go the other way. Nope. We have chosen. All right, give it a little extra juice. Master caution is on. Is that because I'm almost out of fuel? No, it could have been because of me running the APUs. Oh, also could be because I'm doing dual feeds. Why are you not going faster? Dude likes walking under planes. I see. I see. Pardon me. Pardon me. No, sir, we're not parking sideways. I'm taking this in straight into where I want to go. And I think... Dude, seriously? Wow. The jetway's coming out to me, Chad. This is a little weird. Alright, so we should be parked up at this point. Taxi light off. Actually, keep the anti-collision light on. Wait a minute. Really? Hold on. Me. I think so, yeah. I didn't set parking brake up. Let me turn into the door a little bit. I didn't set the parking brake up, did I? I did, actually. Now we'll set the parking brake up and see if this actually connects to the plane. Let's see. If it does, great. If it doesn't, no worries. And now we might actually work. Oh well, good enough. Good enough. Let's go ahead and shut this thing down. APU should be running, and it is. And we'll go ahead and shut engine 2 off, shut engine 1 off, and then that's it. First leg is complete. We are on the APU, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can request some power from a truck. It's okay. Welcome down, chat. Welcome to Quebec. Let's see. Oh, you know what I can do? I can probably request the power this way. How about that? Ground services. Let's see. Is the parking brake set? Yes, it is. So let's go ahead and set the chocks. Ground power request. And we will get potable water, laboratory service, maintenance, and probably get a fuel truck shortly while we go ahead and let the passengers deboard. But welcome down. Welcome to Quebec, and my bad parking job, but that's okay. We're going to be fine. We arrived in very rainy conditions. I'm going to take a very quick break, and then I think we're going to get ourselves set to depart to Halifax as our second and final trip of the evening. Hopefully you guys are enjoying yourselves tonight. I'm just going to go ahead and research for the next leg and see how long it's going to take for us to get there. All right, chat. Sit tight. BRB. Okay, I am back, and I am prepping for my next flight of the day. Let's go ahead and clean up the flight deck a little bit, get that turned off, and master caution, ELEC. Let's get ground power hooked up. And I don't know what the process would be for realigning. That's never been something that I've done. So theoretically, I could probably, de-align the IRS, realign them based on where I am. I don't know what the procedure is, but I'm also not going to freak out about it. We're okay. I will turn my fuel pumps off for now while I reload, especially since my ground power is on. I'm going to turn my APU off, isolation valves open, and APU bleed, I'll leave the way it is. Yard damper off for now. So basically, we're almost back to the way we were before. And I will keep my window heats on, turn my probe heats off, and I think that should do. Let's go downstairs and clear master caution, and let's go ahead and start prepping for our next flight. So let's return. Let's go to payload and give me a random load. So let's say for tonight's flight to Halifax, we're only taking 4 passengers in first class and 47 in economy. So, does that align with the numbers that I'm going to take? No, and I'm not really worried. Let's see what we need for fuel. We were taking 134 passengers with an estimated empty fuel weight of 112,935 pounds. Estimated takeoff weight 123,715. But this is going to be a lot, and I mean a lot lighter if we go with the PMDG numbers that we just got. So, zero fuel weight right now is 96.7. So this should be a very interesting flight. An extremely light flight from Quebec to Halifax, which, I don't know, may or may not be in line with what happens IRL. But again, not something I'm considering much. 96.7 for zero fuel weight. I try to remember that. Let's go to fuel, and let's set to, I think, 1/3 is utter overkill, but let me see. Actually, can I alter my passenger count? I should be able to. Let's edit this. I'm not talking about in the sim, I'm talking about in my flight plan. So, since I know how many passengers they're making with me, it's going to be, what did I say, it was like 48? 51. 51 passengers. Can we pick a number? No, we can't. Ha! Okay, whatever. All right, so we'll work with what we have. 96.7, let's go back to fuel. Fuel. If I take 1/3, it's literally going to be utter and complete overkill. So let's just set it at 30%, 13,000 pounds. If I look at the briefing preview, what would have been served for a much more full aircraft would have been between 11.3 and 13.3. As it is, I have 13.8, which is definitely going to be sufficient. I am using SimBrief, that's right. So SimBrief doesn't let you pick passenger counts for some reason, or I must be doing it wrong. So not going to worry about it. I'm going to continue and enjoy myself here. And we'll keep 13,821 pounds under the auspices of potentially having to fly maybe as far back as St. John in New Brunswick. So let's just play that card. So let's see, 96.7 for fuel weight with 13,821 pounds. We're probably going to be at least 2,500 pounds in the reserve. So that's good enough for me. And let's see, let's service the hydraulic fluid, engine oil, engine ETT, refill fire, and oxygen bottles while we're down here. Why not? Get the full treatment. Cool the brakes, we should be fine. And that's it. Okay, back to menu. Let's get the FMC rolling, and we're going to do a new flight plan. So, what are we doing? Index. Let's see, position, perf. Let's go to pause, reference gate, Charlie, Yankee, Quebec, Bravo. And we'll take the current airport position, which I don't think we need since we don't need to align IRS. Real spa day. For sure, man, for sure. All right, so we're going to go to Charlie Yankee Hotel Zulu as our second and final flight of the night. And company route for Air Canada 197, reprising the call sign. And out of St. John, we're going to fly out of what runway? Let's find out, shall we? I'm reloading my charts window, and we're going to be flying out of runway 6, and we're going to arrive into runway 23. So, runway 6 out of Quebec. 6, and then... That's interesting. Okay. Now, this might be a little bit weird. No, not that weird. It just took a few seconds to catch up. Departures out of Quebec. There's actually multiple departures. We can probably take the Sebep 2 departure either to Fleur or just the Quebec 6 regular departure, which I'll take just to simplify things. Runway 6 selected. Activate the route. And then let's take a look at cruise legs. So we're going to add the Quebec 6 departure. We're going to go direct to Pint with an E at the end. And then we're going to go straight from Pint to the -1 arrival from the Omview transition for 2-3. And we have an ILS for 2-3 this time. So let's pick it. ILS 2-3. Where are we? Okay, ILS from the Yankee Hotel Zulu VOR, or we could go straight from Dutier, which we can choose, chosen, route, execute, and then we're going to do Perfinet. Perfinet. So, plan is going to be, what was the plan? Plan was 11.3. Okay, zero fuel weight, 96.7. Reserves, at least 2,500 pounds, at least. And cost of the next for today is going to be 6, so even less than the last one. Wow, we really are taking it easy. All right, it's an hour and a half for total block time, so we're going to get closer to 39,000 feet, which almost seems a bit ridiculous, but we're going to do it anyway. Cruise is 56 below, and cruise winds are 236 at 73. 236 at 73. And there we go. That's performance set. And what runway are we departing on? We're departing on 6, right? So if we depart on runway 6 out of Quebec, what are we looking at? Runway 6 is going to be a 9,000 foot long runway. We can probably derate. We should be able to derate with the load that we have. So what temperature we think we're going to set? I think I'm going to set 70. And flaps, again, flaps 5 should be fine. Look at these takeoff speeds. We do not have a lot of stuff on board. 4.87 is pretty close to my 5, but we'll double check it. Should be good enough. And we'll check takeoff ref. Runway. Runway is going to be 6. Runway winds. Let's double check runway winds. Airports. Flying out of Quebec. Give me the weather, please. Winds are 320 at 3. 320 at 3. So 320 at 3. And conditions are definitely wet. So now V1 is a lot lower, 105, 110, and 120. Go back up to MCP, we'll set 120 for V2. And course heading for departure is going to be 061. So we'll set that in the event that we actually have to get way out of Dodge and get back on the ground really fast for some reason. And before you actually wonder whether or not that ever happens, I once flew an X-Plane 11 and I had an engine failure on takeoff, and I had VATSIM vector me back to the airport to land. And no, I'm not lying. Yes, that actually happened. And it was cool, but it was stressful. Departing out of the Quebec 6, what are we going to do? We're going to take, what's our initial climb? 4,000. 4,000 up to 39,000 once we get established. And let's take a look at the departure. Vectors to Pint, and then Locri. Locri, does that sound right? No, that does not sound right. We're going to be going to Amvev. Glad I double-checked the flight plan. Okay, so I'll keep an eye on my waypoints. I'm actually going to leave the discontinuity in place along with the vector because I want to pay attention to my flight plan this time. I'm going to be looking at it. One thing we're going to do that we didn't do before, we're going to actually plug in a instrument landing system frequency. So we're going to go to the arrival selections and we're going to take do tier for the approach. We're going to add it to the route. And now we're going to have an ILS with a Cat 2 option, which I don't think this plane is approved for, but we have what we're looking for. The ILS frequency is 109.9. And we're going to go here, 109.9. 109.9. And we will switch these once we get up in the air. Same squawk. We probably don't need to be squawking on the ground. I'll remember that once we push back. And we did reset fuel. And what do we need to do? We need to get the departing weather one more time. Out of Quebec, it's going to be 2952. So we will adjust our baro here. 2952. And that's it. Oh, yes, I do need to know what the minimums are going to be for the approach into Halifax. We've got a minimums section on the bottom of the plate, and I'm going to say I'll take the highest number, localizer glide slope out DME, unless of course there's a reason for me choosing the lower numbers. Oh, we are using ILS, so you know what? I'm going to take the higher of the two, and I'm going to use 700 for my minimums. And that should do us. Okay, boom, done. We've got the flight plan set up, we've got the takeoff speeds referenced, and we've got the runway. So auto throttle can come back on. Flight directors never went off, but that's fine. And now we're going to do VNAV and LNAV once again, and we are going to re-prep ourselves to get out of here. And it looks like I never actually turned that warning about disconnecting the auto throttle off. Now I have. Okay. And as usual, my process, yaw damper. We're going to take this fuel in the center tank. No fuel in the center tank, pretty sure. And we will start regenerating the APU. So, APU is coming on. Anti-collision light never turned off actually, but that's okay. We had a fairly rapid turnaround anyway. APU power is going to be coming back on, and we'll get the hydraulic pumps back on as well. I'll turn the packs off just so I don't forget to turn them off prior to departure. The APU bleed is on. We're going to be cruising at flight level 390 today, so we want to make sure we get that pressurized properly. And the landing altitude at Halifax is going to be 477 feet. a lot closer to 500 than 450. Or is it? Yeah, just over the line. So 500 it is. And APU should be getting set up shortly. Once it does, we'll go ahead and switch over to APU power, get the battery on the bus, and get the APU gen running. Okay. APU gen, battery back on the bus, and we should be able to disconnect ground power by going back here, going to the PMDG settings, and dismissing the ground power. Okay, while we're doing that, let's also go ahead and set the parking brake as well, just so we don't forget it. Did we always have it on? No. Hold on. Oh, we did have it on. Ha! Ha ha ha. Okay, so we can take the wheel chocks off. That's fine. That's fine. Wheel chocks removed. Everything else should be going away. Actually, hold on. Oh, yeah, they are departing, so there we go. That works. They get it. They get it. They're cool. I believe the APU is running at this point. Otherwise, we would have a whole bunch of stuff that we turned off. Low pressure, we'll go ahead and get that fixed shortly. And again, I think we should be ready to go. Take a quick peek around, and the trucks have departed. Let's go ahead and dismiss the jetway as well. And jetway's going away. We could do a straight pushback, and we're going to be taking off on 06, which means we're going to be taxiing down this way. Yeah, straight pushback is fine. I can also push back tail facing southeast. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, let's go back down. Wheel chocks are removed. Let's do pushback. Wheel chocks removed. Tug, TPX, and we will push standard L, turn nose right 90 degrees. Nose to the right or nose to the left? I think nose to the left, because if it's nose left, tail right, 90 degrees. Okay, 300 should be fine.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead.
We've been cleared for push and start, tail to the right.
Copy that. Ready for push, tail right. Release brake brake, please.
Parking brake release. Why are you not releasing? Hello? Excuse me, chat. Did I set the chocks? The chocks should not be there. Yeah, chocks are removed. Is there something I'm forgetting to do? That is the button for the brakes that I'm pressing. Pretty sure.
Brakes released.
There we go. Guess you could say they got stuck.
Brakes released. Here we go.
All right, reset the clock. Here we go, new flight. Let's get underway. Packs are off, so engine should start up without much issue at this point. '25, here we go. Engine 2 starting up. Such a nice livery. Okay, And since we are probably fairly warm in the engine compartment at this point, and because I'm impatient, we're going to start engine number 1 incredibly quickly.
Pushback complete. Parking brake, please.
Brake set.
Engine 1's coming up. Flaps.
Alright, steering pin is disconnected. Watch for the slip release from guidance on your left. Have a good flight.
All right. Second and final flight of the evening. We're going from Quebec to Halifax, leaving the default gateways of Quebec and flying to the Maritimes. Also waiting for engine number 1 to come up so we can reset the fuel flow, verify takeoff speeds. We'll go straight to init ref. And there we go. So, gen's on. Gen 1, TR1. Upstairs one more time. Gen 1, TR1. APU can come off. Taxi light can come on. Probe beats on. Anti-ice is required. Packs on. Isolation valve to auto. APU bleed can stay on. No biggie. And because we're going to be crossing over in one way fairly quickly after we get taxiing, I'm going to go ahead and set my strobe lights on, and that should take care of us. Quick flight controls check before we leave, and we reset the fuel flow. Alright, so once again, full left, full right, full forward, full back, full left deflection, full right deflection, and that's it. Okay, flaps set for departure, and let's go. Parking brake released. Let's go ahead and squawk mode TARA. Let's get out of Dodge. Alright then. We'll go this way while they go that way. Alright, let's double check the taxi profile for Quebec. We're going to go ahead and taxi down Delta, cross runway 29er, and go down Gulf to 06. Okay, so we already have... Oh wait, why are we going on 06? No, we're going down that way. I see. I see. Okay. Wait a minute. Are we actually going on the runway? No, that's not the way we're supposed to go. Oh wow, it's really easy to get on the runway. I didn't even realize that. Alright, quick turnaround, no worries. Actually, a bit of trivia. When I flew home from Alaska last summer, when we took off out of Vancouver, it felt like the pilot got turned around on a taxi instruction out of YVR. It, like, I literally saw us, I think, turn around in one of the taxiways, which was kind of cool because it's not something I usually see when I fly. It's called People Were Being Human. And that's okay. Okay, Air France 353 actually in Quebec right now. Cool. So I needed to go this way. So everybody, welcome aboard. Hello, happy to have you aboard for the second and final flight of the night. We're going to Halifax. We're going to go ahead and wrap up this evening show with a slightly longer trip, and one more chance to catch up and say our hellos and goodbyes, and talk about what's going to be coming down the pike. Again, grateful for another work week in the books, and let's go ahead and double check ourselves. Strobe light is on since we're going to be crossing a runway. I mean, I usually turn it on when you cross one way, turn it off when you're done crossing. So this is called DIGI was being lazy, but we'll turn it on when we actually cross. Text lights on for now, and engine start switches can stay where they are right now. They're currently off. APU is off, and the packs are back on. Isolation valve is auto. We are peppy taxi right now. 24 knots. We are giving it the beans. Okay, coming up on the runway incursion point. And now we have strobe lights on for the crossing. To be honest, it's not that I hate the idea of being a study level pilot in the sim. I think I like it still, in some sense. It's just that I think after I took a break from flight sim streaming for a couple of weeks back in 2022, and I decided to go into scenery development, it didn't seem that important for me to pay attention to procedure. And I'm sorry for the noise. It didn't seem like it was like ultra super duper important for me anymore. So I just stopped paying attention to it. And if you like flying for fun and you like, playing along with people on multiplayer and doing your own take on flying the aircraft, that's fine. Like, I'm certainly not going to judge you. And if you like going for every last flipped switch of realism, do it. That's great. I'm also not going to judge you. I just got to a point where I was just like, you know what? I'm happy with this. I'm okay with flying the default Microsoft Asobo A320 for a quick night flight because I want to go to an airport that I haven't been to before, or because I just want to wind down after work. Likewise, I could turn right around, go into X-Plane 12, fly the Flight Factor 757, which has enough realism to meme me at any moment, and enjoy that flight too. It's just right now, I want to focus more on making airports than flying extremely correctly out of them. So, if you don't see me flip every single switch on procedure, that's basically why. Essentially. And it isn't because I've stopped liking flight sim. It's just because I'm going at a different speed these days. So, chrono on, landing lights on, taxi light off, strobe lights already on. Actually, it is now. Do I want the wing lights on? It is a little bit more difficult to see long distance, so wing lights are not a bad deal. And we might make it a sunset arrival into Halifax. I don't know. It might happen. It might. We'll see. Turning on to 06 and quick check. But no, I think we're okay. Let's see. I think we're okay. I think we're good to go. All right. Bump it up to about 40%, maybe 45% on one. And one's registering symmetrical across the board. Let's go Toga. Oh, no LNAV? That's fine. Oh, you know what? That's fine. I can push the throttles myself, too. D-rated takeoff, airspeed's alive. Trim is set, flaps are 5.
80 knots.
80 knots seen, confirmed.
V1.
Rotate.
Alright, let's get out of town.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up, please. Flaps to 2. Flaps to 1. And flaps up. Didn't set the spoilers, I'm sorry, the auto brakes to RTO. Flaps are going away. $1,500 feet, let's go autopilot. And let's see, look at my legs page. We're going vectors. Climbing up to 4,000. Let's take a look at the departure. So let's get up to 4,000 feet and then let's go direct to Pint. Once we get to 4,000, that's when we'll make our right turn. Flaps are indeed up. A little bit of a bumpy departure out of Quebec. Okay, close enough. Let's go ahead and go direct to Pint. Hit the execute button. And continue our climb to 390. There's a lot of space between 4,000 and 39,000. VNAV reset. Climb can continue. And we are climbing. Oh, are we ever climbing? This thing is giving it the beans. We are also bleeding off speed. And I did not turn on my LNAV VNAV, my autopilot, until we were gunning it. Hmm. 5,000 feet per minute, anyone? This airplane just does not care. Oh my word. Okay, if we start going past 6,000 feet per minute again, I think I'm going to have to intervene. That's a little crazy. From 0 to 10,000 feet in a little over 5 minutes. That just seems wrong on so many levels. Landing lights off, gear off, and let's see. Turn off's taxi, landing lights off, APU off. I didn't set the engine start switches to continuous, so that's an oopsie on my part. Strobe lights on, anti-collision lights on. Wing light will keep on, and no need for any ice on this trip up. Probe heat is on, and yeah, upstairs is fine. I think we're good. Wow. climbing like it's absolutely holding us home. Okay, so welcome aboard once again. We are on our way to Halifax for the second and final flight of the evening. We are in the PMDG 737-600, and I am enjoying some nice chill flying and some default scenery in Microsoft Flight Simulator, or as I call it sometimes, FS 2020 or MSFS. I am looking forward to the upcoming release of FS 2024. I would like to purchase it, fly it, and see what the differences are. Apparently, there are what I appear to see as, anyway, differences in the graphics abilities. Maybe some slight differences, maybe not that much, but I feel like it's differences enough to make it a worthwhile purchase. Does it mean that it's going to be perfect? I'm tempted to say yes, but I'm a Microsoft fanboy, so I mean, I want it to be. Is it going to be? No. I'm hoping that they have, like, easily reportable weather from radar of most aircraft, but there's a chance that some of the things that are baked into this sim as a whole on a larger global level won't be defeated by an interim or iterative update. And I think that the update is probably going to be a good one in terms of maybe improvements to performance and, like I said, slight graphical tweaks. There probably are going to be some, and we are going to have actual seasons, not just the seasons that are superimposed based on the knowledge that Rex AccuSeason applies, for example. But I'm looking forward to it. I'd also like to start, thinking about designing scenery for FS 2024 along with FS 2020, because not everyone is potentially going to be buying FS 2024 if they're happy with FS 2020. And I think I would like to design scenery for both, but I'm going to have to make up my mind about certain things that I do. Not the least of which, of course, is basically figuring out how to parcel out more time for scenery development as a whole. Like I mentioned before, during my first flight, I am a software developer in real life. I work for company bleep, doing bleep, 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 clearly redacted, or whatever you would call me not saying what I'm actually doing because I don't want to get doxxed. But I do program, make code to get paid money to pay bills. Would I like to be creating scenery full time? I like the idea. I do. Do I think I'm going to be? I honestly don't know. Because I don't know what's going to come down the pike in terms of the next few weeks, the next few months, the next few years. However, I can say I've already sold scenery professionally and taken money for it, because I released an airport on Sim Market, Whiskey 904, which is Camp Peary Landing Strip in Newport News, outside of Williamsburg, Virginia, private airfield. I'd like to, of course, make other airports, lots of other airports, but I don't know how to make all that happen given the current work schedule that I have. The problem that I have with work is that the schedule is sometimes volatile, or it can easily bleed over into the evening hours because of what I do. Do I want to do that for the rest of my life? I'm going to be honest. I don't think I do. I think I want to start cooling my heels and think about other ways to get stuff done IRL. I'll be completely honest with you. Over the past couple of months, I have entertained the idea of walking away from software development more than once. And I don't just mean, oh man, this work sucks. I wish I could take 4 weeks off and just not do a thing. I'm talking about I've had serious conversations with myself where I wondered whether or not this is the field I'm supposed to be in anymore. Those of you that know. Those of you that don't know, the first, I would say, 6 months of this year were crazy, more intense than I planned, and not the easiest months to get through. But Yahweh Elohim was with me, and I was able to traverse those months, even though there were plenty of times where I was holding my head in my hands at my desk, wondering how in the world I am going to finish this project or that task or this assignment. And he's brought me through every single one of those instances. Is that saying that I want to stay at that job forever and take every single assignment that comes my way? I think the obvious answer is no. Do I know whether or not I'm going to be able to continue working there in the near future? I don't. I don't. It's been crazy, it's been a little bit nuts, but the fortunate benefit that I've had over the past, I think, the last month and a half, I've really gotten to know the people that I work with on a regular basis, and I've come to understand just how many similarities we all have, and and just the day-to-day, cadence that we're all trying to keep up. So I'm grateful for the coworkers that I work with. I just wish the assignments weren't so nutty, so intense in terms of, you know, getting this done, getting that done, figuring out how to do everything by yourself. Like it's like, yeah, software development in 2024 is like taking, going skydiving, jumping out of an airplane at about maybe 12 or 13,000 feet or higher, and being given a parachute and figuring out how to finish assembling it, put it on, and operate it while you're in the air. Most of the time, you have enough altitude to figure out how to put the parachute together, wear it, and then deploy it. Sometimes it takes longer. And it's hard to figure out the answer to assignments when you are trying to learn everything required. And that's all I'd say with regards to, with regards to that. So, in terms of what I'm currently doing, that's basically the biggest detractor in terms of determining whether or not it's possible for me to do everything I need to do and uh, wind down at the end of the day. But I will tell you, working as hard as I do, wrapping up, taking care of Mrs. DG, taking care of the cats, doing laundry, loading, unloading dishes, stuff like that. It's it's something that I do as it's a privilege to do because I could just as easily be in a place where I'm not taking care of anybody. I don't have any pets. I'm living by myself, and when I think about it, the answer is clear. I'll take the extra work. I'll take the going from one end of the week to the other really fast because I love Mrs. Digi. I'm grateful for the pets that we have, and I'm just grateful that I get to spend time with people that care about me. I sometimes wonder, about my friends in certain instances or my coworkers, and it's just like I remember, and this is the really weird part, okay? I remember at my last job, I used to go to, corporate functions after work. And when I mean corporate functions, I mean I used to go to parties where people used to hang out and, do a little bit of drinking. Not me, but the folks that went there. I would drink water. I think, like, okay, I drank a beer one or two out of like the 12 plus times that the company hung out. So essentially, basically consider me dry. But some of the conversations that I used to overhear were interesting and sometimes not concerning, but just like it made me stop and think. So some of my coworkers commented, basically they were having difficulty with, you know, finding somebody genuine to go on a date with. And here I am, blessed to be on the other side of the picture, and it's hit me more the past few weeks. Like, dating in 2024 sounds like it is a lot rougher than it was back in my heyday when you know, things were different. But if that's where you are, I have no advice to give you other than be courteous, be empathetic, be kind, love generously, and guard yourself. Understand what your personal limits are and stick to them. And I'm not talking about, crazy, silly things like, no, after 10 p.m., my remote control. Those things come with what I call the bonus years. Like, when you get to know somebody as long as I've known Mrs. Tiggy, she and I basically have ways of living, dealing with life, which are just a part of the package. I understand that there are certain things that she does, and I love her, and that's just the way it's gonna be. Like, period, forever. I never want to change her. Period. Period. And I think in one sense, you want to spend time with the people whose mannerisms and habits make you chuckle. And when you get to the point in your life where you've been with someone long enough to be like, well, I wish they would do this. The answer is nope. They're never going to change. And that's just the way it is. Like, your job is to spend time with them, get to know them more, love them, and reconfigure your life to account for some of those things. Now, I'm old enough to understand the courtship phase, the dating phase, the premarital phase. That's where you kind of suss out whether or not you want to spend time with folks that essentially do this kind of thing where you are committed to keeping that particular track with them forever. So, like, oh man, this person doesn't pick up after themselves at all. Like, have you talked to them about it? Yeah. Do they want to change? No. Okay. Are you dating them? Yeah. Well, there we go. You're at that point where you can make a decision. Assuming this person never changes their mind, do I want to spend the rest of my life with them? It is so much easier to make a choice like that on the dating side of the long-term relationship than on the other. But the opposite is true. Say you spent time with someone, you got married, you spent a few years together, and you rapidly began to understand you both do different things differently. Like, very differently. But before you go bananas and you say, I want out, something happens. I picture a man, you know, realizing his woman, like, got really sick really fast. I will tell you, as a man, sometimes circumstances pop into my life and I reflect so much more when those circumstances happen than when things are hunky-dory. Um, and maybe that's what gives you an opportunity to wake up and to realize what you have. I have had to say goodbye to a non-zero number of people in my life because they have passed away over the past 3 years. More than I think I'm comfortable admitting right now, or at least more than you might be comfortable hearing. But suffice it to say, the brevity of life has been taught to me over the past couple of years, and it has quite literally become just a point of order in my life, to the extent where it's just like, yeah, man, like time goes by super duper fast, and you do not know when you're going to kick off. It's not lost on me, especially in the day and age in which we live, that I can wake up tomorrow and a very good friend of mine could be gone. That happened to me back in June. Somebody that I cared about very much. Somebody who I had literally called 4 days beforehand. I wake up one day, I get a text. They passed away. I will tell you, my world stopped. It was instant. And all of a sudden, I felt like work did not matter at all. You could have fired me at that point and it would not have stung. I took time off, and I'm glad I did, because I was just like bouncing back and forth between going, oh, well, like this, and sometimes going, I can't believe they're gone. But I guess that's what happens. I'm still processing it. It's only been a couple months at this point. So I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm grateful for the community. I'm grateful for this chance to just even vent. Even if I'm only streaming for myself. Even if absolutely no one else is watching. Even if I am literally the last option someone has to watch because I don't want to watch anything else, and I'm the only soul streaming Flight Sim right now, which isn't the case because I know some of my friends are streaming, and I'll probably raid them after we're done letting in Halifax. I am in such a place as this, grateful. It might not seem that way, but I am grateful. I wish circumstances were better. I wish I was in a different spot so that I could, I don't know, more easily do X or Y or Z, as some folks say. Zay? As some folks say. As some folks say. But I guess I have to take it one challenge and one facet of life at a time. I appreciate everyone that stopped in tonight and said hello. In Iowa, Scotsman, I'm sorry I missed you earlier. I did say hello, quick bit. I basically was just prepping a snack in the galley, but I appreciate the resub. And of course, folks, to anyone watching, anyone lurking, anyone watching this in post, watching this as a VOD, do not feel like you have to follow, cheer, donate, subscribe. Don't feel like you have to do anything. If all you do is come in here and you lurk, You are boosting the algorithm for my channel. So thank you. If you come in here and chat, you will have my attention and I will appreciate the extra company. Because as a somewhat wise streamer did tell me once, we do this for the company. And it's nice to do this. It's nice to get my thoughts out, talk to the web. I think the further along I get in age, the different my experience is, the more different my experience is with flight simulation. I mean, I would sometimes fire up the sim, go flying, and just chill on a different level and do things because I wasn't streaming. And is it impossible for me to go on a flight in the sim without talking to people? No, it's not impossible. I can fly the default planes. I can fly, whatever plane it is that I feel proficient enough in, and go on a flight, go do some other stuff, or focus on a flight itself, or figure out what I'm going to do with the experience. It's cool. It's not impossible. I I will say sometimes it's just the thing where it's like, oh, well, I like talking to people more. Yeah, yeah. Most of my flight sim experiences are centered either around talking to ATC or streaming on Twitch. Even my senior development experiences streaming on Twitch most of the time. I do wonder sometimes why I don't take more risks. I'm still in a phase in life where it's a very good possibility for me to do so. I I think that would probably benefit me more and change my stars, change my family tree, as they say. But you work hard. You you deal with circumstances at work or in life, and you sit down and you want comfort and you want rest, rest and recovery, rest and relaxation. You want your R&R. You want an opportunity to do something different. I'm sorry, not do something different, do something familiar. Chill, relax, regroup. That's what you usually want to do. And that's essentially what happens. And you just keep going. And you don't really push yourself too hard because you want to recuperate. I'm at that weird spot where it's just like, okay, what do I want more? Do I want the pain of uncertainty and growing into an even better position? Not from a job perspective, but from a life perspective. Or do I want to keep working the job that I'm working, the hours that I'm putting in, the circumstances that I'm getting out of what I'm putting in? And it's kind of like, if you keep, you know, giving what you're giving, you're going to keep getting what you got. So it's a tricky place to be between deciding that you're going to actually do a better job and actually shooting for it. Let me take a look at my flight plan briefly. Okay, so 160 nautical miles for that click. Let's go ahead and go to the arrival page. So, Minas, we're going to be 86 miles from Amvev. Did we actually get to Amvev yet? Let's see. No, we're almost to Amvev. So 86 nautical miles from there to Lokri. And if we're going to be landing to the south, then we are going to be 5,000 feet at Ulubar. And that's a 24 nautical mile jaunt from Lokri. So essentially, From Omvev to Locre is going to be 86. So we're going to look at 110 nautical miles. Do I think I can get down to 5,000 feet from 39,000 in 110 nautical miles? Well, let's see. If I had to drop 30,000 feet, that would be 100 nautical miles. Yeah, so 110 should suffice. Once I get to Omvev, I should probably begin my descent. That's my guess, anyway. So we are almost there. I don't think we're going to be cruising any higher. So once we cross Amvev, if we're nowhere close to 39,000, I'm going to essentially, let's see. I think what I can do is reset my cruise altitude in the MCP. Oh, unable cruise altitude. That's why we couldn't finish the climb. That's weird. We're so light and we can't finish climbing? All right. Okay, so we're going to stay at 300. Check altitude target. And now I think the plane's going to readjust itself for the adjusted cruise. If I would have begun my descent ahead of time, I probably would have seen something here or here. No, here, off schedule descent, which I believe is something which will mess with the pressurization of the aircraft. Because I think if you begin your descent before you hit top of climb, what's going to happen is you're going to have the plane depressurize all the way back down. I think that's what the problem is, and that's probably not a very good thing at all. So let me take a look at my final approach fix. It's going to be roughly 1,900 feet. So I want to set my MCP for 1,900 feet right now. There we go. 1,900 feet set. And then once we reach top of descent, which I believe is basically whenever I set it, because I'm going to begin VNAV descent once I cross Amvev, then we're going to begin descent and we will begin preparations for our arrival into Halifax. And that will be my stream. So, thank you for those people that tuned in today. Thank you for everybody that stopped in real quick. Even if you moved on, it's okay. I get it. There's a lot of options for flight sim channels on Twitch. Probably not as many or not as many people watching as, say, some of the other more popular Twitch games. And I mean that literally and figuratively. So, if you even so much as said hello, thank you. If I'm being completely and utterly honest, I think at some point I will probably be beginning to look at my streaming career and seeing how I can reposition it. Because I'm considering how to enjoy my stream time. And I think it's going to continue to be split between the various things I'm doing. Flying, trucking, gaming, scenery development. But I'm going to try to get this into more and more of a recognizable flow, so to speak. So the point will be to get consistent, to stay consistent, and to consistently do things that I enjoy. I like MSFS, but I will tell you, I almost streamed P3D tonight. In some ways, I kind of wish I did, because I would be just kind of like dealing with aircraft from a different perspective. Number one, I wouldn't be flying the 737. I'd probably either be flying the 787 or the 717 or a business jet or the Embraer E175. Master caution. Master caution. Do we have low fuel? No, not low fuel. FMC is not reporting any issues. Master caution disregard. Do we have any reason to be concerned? Off-sched descent. There we go. That's the problem. We didn't get to the planned cruising altitude, and we did override, but we are going to be on the way down. And I'm actually going to begin descent now. So 110 nautical miles down to 1900. I think I'm going to begin descent. So current airspeed is roughly 470 plus. So that's, let's see, 350, 2400 feet per minute should probably be fine for the initial descent. And let's see, descent airspeed is probably going to be somewhere around, in my opinion, 270 knots. So that's where I'll keep it. Well, it would also help if I had my auto throttle armed. Just saying. So we're coming down at 270 knots, overridden, 2,400 feet per minute. I'll be watching the airspeed to monitor my descent rate and get myself down to the appropriate altitude. This soupy mess will become clearer to see as we begin our approach. Nice looking bird. I'm happy. So thanks again for everybody that's tuning in today. We are beginning our approach into Halifax, our final destination airport for tonight's stream. And we took off from Ottawa initially and flew to Quebec. We landed at Quebec, probably going 370 plus for the landing rate on one wheel. But we definitely plunked it down, no question. And we took off from Halifax a little while ago. I'm sorry, took off from Quebec a little while ago. And we are on our way into Halifax. Let me double check the runway situation in Halifax and also double check the weather. At Halifax, we'll be hitting runway 23. It's a 10,500 foot long runway, so auto brake 3 should be just fine. And if we check our airport weather for Stanfield, then weather at Halifax, let's see. METAR is going to say winds 180 at 8. We could take the 7,700 foot long runway, but 23 has an ILS system, so we're good. Winds are 180 at 8, and it looks like we have, what is that? Like minimum VFR rules in effect? Whatever the case, I don't think the clouds are going to be a factor once we get below them, because we're going to be, or should be, way above minimums for our approach. And right now I think we're okay. We are continuing our descent, which means we can probably begin to reduce a teensy bit the rate of descent. And I think 2,000 feet per minute should probably actually be very good. tomorrow, I think there's a pretty good chance I'm not going to be on stream. I think it's just going to be a quiet day with Mrs. DG, chilling out, really just icing the brain, maybe coming up with some ideas and enjoying myself. And if I write any code, it's going to be for fun. If I do any kind of scenery dev, it's going to be because I've got an inspiration or an idea. I I don't know. I don't know. I I need rest. I'm not even gonna lie. I need rest. It would be great to kick it and just get my get my equilibrium back, so to speak. Let's see. Altimeter 3003 for Halifax right now. Let's set that up. I will admit that in my quieter moments, I wonder why I'm not, say, as much of a destination streamer as some are. But there was a point about a year and a half ago where I semi-retired. Actually, more than a year and a half ago, about 2.5 years ago, I semi-retired. I was kind of like, eh, I've just been, going for it and haven't really achieved the success I wanted to achieve. But I think part of the problem was my fault because I didn't really define what success was. I didn't understand what it was that I was supposed to do in terms of deciding whether or not I was actually going to, you know, hit certain goals, hit certain targets with regards to, building an audience, having a particular format, things that make streaming not just predictable, but things that make streaming a particular kind of experience. I'm saying like, you tune in to a certain streamer to get a certain kind of experience from them. So the point is, you you probably might not think about channels readily with content that either varies incredibly wildly or doesn't really vary at all, and you're not feeling it one day. Also, I reminisce about certain channels that I don't see on anymore. There were some flight sim streamers that influenced me to take up the mantle. And this was back in like 2017, 2018, where I was watching, Chewy94 and other streamers stream. And I wanted to stream because of them. I wanted to go on VATSIM because of them. So it made me wonder about the experience, how to get started. And, I had humble beginnings. I had this desire to stream, but my hardware wasn't the best spec. So I had these moments where I had to figure out how to basically make the most out of a particular situation given the sincere lack of processing power my computer had. So I said, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to enjoy ourselves. And I enjoyed myself. I certainly wished my computer was more powerful at the time, but I did enjoy myself. And eventually, Mrs. DIGI got me my first sim rig, and the rest is history. And I've had, I've had the ability to stream better with a more enjoyable frame rate. But I will not forget the unique experience that streaming on my Surface Pro tablet gave me. So I didn't experience runaway success. I didn't have a lot of people call me for sponsorship deals. No, that didn't happen. I will say that overall, I enjoyed those moments in the experience when people were saying hello and I was hanging out with people. And I think it's just a thing too. I think finding that niche somewhere between being super successful and being, in the hunt for being more successful. That's kind of fun, but at the same time it's not everything. Like, the concern being, hey, how do I grow my channel to like 100 viewers at a clip? The answer for me is I don't. My particular niche, my particular personal desires as an individual, they're to such an extent that I'm not going to be pulling in the crowds that go watch streams like Valorant, League of Legends, Counter Strike, all this stuff. I don't. I'm not in there, and that's not going to be me. Do I think over time that if I keep streaming to myself and I do not do anything of the kind where I get no views, no follows, no subs, that I might take my time and apply it some other place? The thought has crossed my mind about making my retirement permanent, but in one sense, hey, chill. Like, enjoy what you have, DIGI, because it goes by really fast. And on the other hand, because it goes by so fast, I'm going to get to the point where I'm gonna wake up one day and just be like, wow, where did it go? I'm X years old, and I can think of probably at least a few times in my life when I wondered, hey, is my life going to kick off at this point? Am I going to really hit it at this point? Am I going to be able to do X at this point? And I mean, I thought about kid stuff when I was a kid, and I thought about, adult stuff when I became an adult. But the problem in one sense for me was that, sheesh, what I kept wondering, when am I going to hit my stride? When am I going to do blah 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 blah? And it just kind of happened. It kind of happened that I grew older, and I wake up in the morning and I'm like, hey, you ain't getting younger, pal. Do what you have to do, or just know that you're not going to be doing it eventually. So, as silly as it sounds, I think the past couple of months in particular have taught me one extremely valuable lesson. And it's something that somebody mentioned in a social media post, which kind of stuck with me. If you don't have uh, non-negotiable standards, someone else will set them for you. So for me, that means being a follower of Jesus Christ, even if it costs me opportunities, even if people don't like me, because I believe in the truth. I want everyone to be saved and to know Jesus as Lord and to be saved from hell. which is a very real place, just like heaven is a very real place. I've chosen Christ as my Savior and been baptized into His name, such that I'm done with the world. Like, there's certain things that I used to do that I just don't want to do anymore because they just don't appeal to me anymore. There's been a shift of thinking in my life where it's just like, well, this isn't me anymore. Let's see, how's that temperature? Is 2.5. So we're not going to be dealing with icing at this point. I don't think I have my anti-ice on at all. I don't. Window heat should be fine, and we are coming down, so the off-skid descent warning can be disregarded. We're good. Let's get down to the 20. Once we start getting to the point where we're approaching the ILS, I'm going to go ahead and go to approach speeds. Right now, we are going to go ahead and flip the switch for the ILS to become the factor in the PFD, where I can see the glide slope and the localizer. I think it was Chewy94 that said something that still inspires me to this day. Do what you want in terms of stream the computer games that you want, and the crowd will come to you. I think, sometimes this is what I like doing, and I like flying, and I like streaming, and I like doing stuff like that. I want to, share myself with my friends and do things and create things. That's fine. And I know that I'm not going to be an extremely popular streamer, and that's okay. That's okay. It's just not going to be. It's either that or that's a long way off. Right now, I remember someone that was genuinely interested in kicking off flight sim streaming, and I just kind of like I pondered what it was that I wanted to do, and I would stream about as late as I am right now, but back like 6-7 years ago, I would be streaming, not talking to too many people, and just kind of like doing the deal. And just hoping somebody would come on. Now,
2500.
all right, let's go ahead and start slowing down to approach speed. 230. I will say right now, I am okay with where I am. If people do not want to watch me at all, that's fine. If there are more popular streamers that they like spending time with, that's fine. If there are things they need to do and they can only lurk, that's fine. I'll keep reevaluating my position as a flight sim streamer over the next few months. I would say as long as there are, even a few friends that stop in when I stream, I'll probably continue to stream just as a way of catching up with them and staying in touch, because that's basically my point. being able to continue to communicate with others and demonstrate my desire to spend time with them. That's the point. If there was absolutely nobody on ever permanently, period, then I'd probably be like, oh, okay, they've moved on, they don't want to be friends anymore. It's okay, nothing but love for them. But I'm also not going to spend time streaming into thin air where no one watches it, no one spends time, and it's a complete, just like non-existent deal. Approach VRAF not selected. Let's pick flaps 30. VRAF is now selected. You know what? No. Let's get set up for the approach. I thought I remember seeing that it was 3,000 for the go-around altitude. Right, VR look, we're going back on the approach. Going down to 180 knots, here we go. Flaps 1, speed checks. Single channel. Flaps 2. Flaps 5. Let's keep slowing it down. Let's take it right to 140. Go flaps 10. Flaps 15. Gear down. Flaps 25. Flaps 30. We'll keep it at 135 until we actually start descending. We are super slow. I mean, I probably shouldn't be going this slow right now. This low to the ground. Also, I can't see a thing out there, which makes this fun. This could get interesting, chat. Potentially, we'll see. Runways on the board. It is not in sight. Peeking out over the MCP, but no, I see nothing but thick cloud. Auto brake is set to 3. Nittick is basically going to be where we begin our descent. Our final descent. Flight attendants, please take your seats for landing. Thank you. And down we come for the final approach into Halifax, and what I can only describe as a veritable pea soup of cloud. Gear down 3 greens. Flaps 30 green light. We can probably be even slower than this. Actually, we should be. So like 125, 124. Keep it at 126. And we are descending. Go around speed, go around altitude is set as 3,000.
$1,000.
1,000. Gear down, flaps, green light, speed brake armed, auto brake 3. We are continuing. So decision height's going to be 700 feet. I don't see anything right now. We are absolutely cooked for anything. At least show me the MALSR lights. We can push it. Wait, didn't we say Barrow Mints was 700?
500.
Okay, well, whatever. I see the incoming lights. We're good enough.
400. Approaching minimums.
This would have been a go around.
300. Minimums.
Continue. Oof, man, this is not a legal approach.
50. 30. 20.
Loading.
10.
Okay. Reverse green, speed brakes up. Reverse is normal. $80 knots. Manual braking. 60 knots. Okay, flaps retracted. And speed brakes coming back. So clearly we were not in a good spot to make the approach, and I also don't know enough about the charts to make a good decision about what the altitude would have been. I could have tried to do an auto land if I had, I think, used both command options for autopilot, but nonetheless, we are still in one piece, and we are down at Halifax. So welcome, everyone. It's kind of nuts, but we did our thing. Welcome down. And the taxiing on this is such a wide circle now. It's kind of interesting. Let's get the APU going. Taxi light on, landing lights off. Position light steady. I think we're good. The APU will become available shortly. I should be able to transfer over to the APU bus shortly. But welcome down to socked in default Halifax in Nova Scotia, where the local time is late o'clock, but it's essentially a time shifted arrival. We have the APU available. Switching over to APU gen, batteries on the bus. And we'll turn off the, the probe heats at this point. And get the isolation valve to open. Okay, so we are down at Nova Scotia, and I'm not sure if the Nova Scotian ramp has a jetway, does it? I can't tell. There we go. Hey, two-faced disc. Welcome, my friend. We just came into Halifax, Nova Scotia. We are in Stanfield International Airport. Default scenery, of course, but essentially we've made it to Halifax, which is the second and final leg of our trip. We spent time flying out of Ottawa to Quebec, and I had a fun interlude where I essentially said, "Oh, okay, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and try to make a snack while we were in flight," which worked out somewhat. It was kind of fun, but at the same time, it was it was fast, very fast. And then we made it down. I never actually finished the rest of my snack, so a little sad, but at the same time I'm happy that I didn't eat all those calories tonight. Save some for tomorrow, right? All right, so I'm going to follow this yellow line in, but dude is telling me to go more to the right. A little weird. Not too weird. I'm happy I'm getting some guidance from a marshaller. This isn't GSX, this is standard Asobo. This is good. And digital brakes, so, Full brake application or nothing. And, dude, you're not telling me anything. Wait a minute. Look at that. Dude, the jetway's coming out to meet me? Come on now. Talk about service. All right, we have the APU running. Batteries on the bus. Let's go ahead and take the engines offline. Welcome to Halifax. All right, let's go down to this the screen, and we're going to go to the main menu, get ground services hooked up. Let's see, did I set my parking brake? I believe I did. So I should be able to set chocks. Chocks are set. Ground power requested. And let's go. The engines are coming down. And what do I want to do? There we go. Water, lavatory. We will get the... Actually the jet was already requested. So that's fine. There we go. Go upstairs and let's do this. Yaw damper to off. Fuel pumps. Because we have the ground power available. We can go to ground power and we can go to standby power and turn the rest of the fuel pumps off. Also, we can turn the APU off. Packs to off. Window heater off. Let this thing cool down. It's been flying. We flew for a little while tonight. And APU bleed's coming off, and that's it. I mean, leave the recirc fan plugged in. That's fine. Anti-collision light off, wheel light off, logo light finally off, and down. All right. The marshaller still thinks we can get the plane closer to the ground. Sorry, friend. We are done. It ain't coming closer. Okay. Unfortunately, typical jetway rendering issue that happens sometimes from time to time. I mean, at this point, for me, it's a meme, and I'm happy that I have a stable sim. If that's the price I have to pay, and occasionally see satellite imagery bleed through the ground textures, that's fine. I'm happy. I had 2 successful flights in the 737-600 today. You know, like, this plane is great, and the experience was wonderful. So, I'm good. This was beautiful, and it looks like the sun's starting to come down. I mean, sheesh, overseas the sun's starting to come up. So, let's go ahead and wrap up here. Friends, give me a few seconds to check out who's on right now. I think we're going to go raid a certain someone streamer, friend of mine. And let's go check out my channel real fast just so I can see who's on. I'm pretty sure he's flying right now. And I hear myself, I should stop. Yep, definitely. Let's go set up a raid and go say hi to Studio Canuck and hope that he is doing well. Until next time, my friends, like I always like to say at every stream's end, if you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace, and that's Jesus Christ. Friends, enjoy the rest of your evening. Hopefully you have a great rest of your weekend, as mine is kicked off at this point. And yeah, man, we will go and chill and hang out with Canuck as he completes his legs. Have a great night, everybody, and take care. Bye now.